Hello, storytellers. Storytelling Ron. Have you guys seen any bigoted, male chauvinistic, sexist, white supremacist colonizer videos lately? About some backwoods Christian in the United States of America, in the Christendom in the West? Talking Christian. Oh, I forgot one thing I'm going to put on here. I'm going to go through the comments of the what's it called? What did I say? D&D 5e erases women. Clickbait. Yeah. I got, maybe I'll just do more rants like this, but I got, no, I mean, I don't want to. I want to do my game, RPG, but I got, wow, I got like 20 subscribers. I've never had that big of a jump, except I guess when I was doing my music, which I don't do. Maybe I should do music, but I'm not a composer in truth. So I literally just threw the music together for the D&D sessions. You know, the Rime of the Frost Maiden is my biggest one. I love this stuff. I'm into scores, and I'm digressing already because I do slapdash videos like this. But okay, so I'm gonna go off the comments and respond because I'm getting a ton of them. And obviously, and I'm an open book here. I am getting 26 likes. Thank you, guys. Very encouraging. You got to tell the truth, man. Got to tell the truth. Got to bring it up. And 95 dislikes. So, and of course, most people on there are raging that men and women are the same, or I'll go through the comments, but this is a teachable moment for you. I'm not changing my mind, by the way, just so you know. I'm my wife and my daughters know exactly who I am, and they love me for it. My older daughter just came by yesterday. It was nice. We had a serious discussion just about her life, and that was nice. And I'm seeing them. Whatever. Okay, I'm digressing again. Okay, so she's married and all that. But okay, so let me move to this video. Oh, that was my email. Let me go to this. Okay, first I'm sorry. I'm all over the place here. Let me switch to the comments, right? The comments of, I'm going to get to this video or this bit here in a minute, and then with much hilarity. But I'm just going to start going through the comments because, okay. Nothing like a man telling people what it means to be a woman in a role-playing game. I don't know. Yeah, I can certainly do that. Lol. I did a lol too. I don't know why I only see one reply. There's actually this Christian GM woman lady on here that I can't see. I got her through emails and then I can't see her on the comments. I don't know what's going on with that. Anyway, it's fantasy for a reason. The whole point is to do things that are out of the normal. Okay, that's a good point, and I don't mind that point. But here's what I've come to realize is that role-playing games, storytelling is very important in all our lives, and it is being used now to affect how we are in real life. That's what D&D is using it. The gender agenda, the LGBTQD thing, and all the gender stuff. They're pushing that in the games. People are being canceled. People are being Gina Carano. People are being, for speaking out against it. So I'm going to speak out against what's going on and I don't like that where girls are being taught, to play football. That is ridiculous. That's kind of like the most obvious result of this in our psyche. Our psyche, role-playing games and storytelling and fellowship around a table or around a game or watching YouTube videos of playing the game is affects our psyche, affects how we have an outlook on life. It does. And if you want to deny that, that's fine, but I'm not going to deny that. Storytelling is so important. You can go a day without eating. I've gone 3 days, 72 hours without eating. I've fasted. I do fast. I've gone 72 hours without eating. I could not go 72 hours though without watching YouTube or doing, I laid there watching YouTube or stories. I can't go a day. I don't even know if I can go an hour. When I'm falling asleep, I am not eating, but I am creating stories in my mind when I'm falling asleep. Before I wake up in the morning, what am I doing today? I'm creating stories in my head of what I'm going to do, what I need to do, our dreams are stories. We can't go a day without stories. We're storytellers, and God, the Bible is a story, and God created us in his image. And I know the most important thing, my view of this, the most important thing is storytelling. God is a storyteller and an amazing storyteller, the best storyteller. And we love storytelling ourselves. We love to create. This is a story. Us, this world, this reality God created is a story by God. And he has given us that gift to tell stories. And we want to tell stories and tell each other stories. And so I'm getting annoyed because we're denying the nature, or the lovely, beautiful nature of male and female. And in fantasy. Fantasy comes from medieval Europe, white colonizer medieval Europe. Fantasy, here's my little shtick. I did this all. It's the struggle between Christians and pagans. Elves, giants, dwarves all come from medieval Europe. It comes from the missionaries confronting the pagans, and the trolls and the spirits and the forest spirits and all that all comes from medieval fantasy, but it comes from Christians and pagans struggling together. And I think the most well-documented Greek mythology comes from Christian missionaries. Most of the documentation of medieval history and ancient history comes from the careful monasterially documentation of this stuff, to preserve it. Universities are Christian, throughout Europe, and that whole. The reason I think too we have a ton of medieval history is because of the monasteries, universities documenting things. Whereas, like in Africa, we just don't have enough information about the ancient times because Christianity did not really get in there until later on. So, fantasy is the struggle between Christians and pagans, and the problem today is that Christians have voluntarily and intimidatedly removed ourselves from fantasy. And so pagans have taken over all of fantasy. They've taken over romance, chivalry, taken credit for all that stuff, and absolutely the Christianity has brought that into our world, and into the joy and loves that you and I have as storytellers today is because of Christian struggles versus paganism. And what's paganism? Every belief system out there besides Christianity is paganism. You believe a pagan believes that what they do will be rewarded in heaven, or here's what every atheist I know says, this. There's no God, but if there is, I'm a good person. He's gonna let me in. No, that's not. We Christians are trying to warn you. You're not a good person. I'm not a good person. You're not a good person. You've done bad things. There's a perfect judge. He's going to judge you, and if you don't pull out a Jesus card, you're not going to get in. And anyway, we're not saved by our own actions. Okay. So anyway, that's Christianity. Okay. Yeesh, big yikes. Find help. Freedom from religion does wonders. Oh no. I'm going to be a Christian. I was an atheist until I was 40. Oh God. I was miserable, lustful, addicted to porn, totally horrible to my wife and my daughters, full of just mocking and scoffing. Oh, hell no. I am not going to go back. Hell no. I'm going to stay a Christian. I love it. I love being a Christian. I can get high right now just thinking about Jesus. I just get high. And it is a wonderful feeling. I mean, it is just a wonderful thing. I love being a Christian. Like Kat Von D. I'm just happy. Okay. Critic. This is fantasy. Female were part of fantasy genre since prehistoric paint drawing and Unga fire stories in the caves. I appreciate the fun humor here. You attack wrong point. Men and females should be different when it comes to NPCs, but not players. It's only players' choice when it comes to who and how they play. Female, passive, and weak. Does not equate to passive and weak. Okay, I agree with you. But the problem is we're just making them into males. Males charge forth. Males want to do all these sorceries and magical and aggressive stuff. Women have a different tactic in reality, and I'm going to get to that in this long video I'm going to do here. And we're erasing that. We're making women more like men, and it's lame. You attack wrong, but men and women should be different when it comes to NPC. Men and female should be different when it comes to NPCs, but not players. Why? As a player, I don't want everyone around the table, men and women, playing the same way. All right, who goes next? I attack. You know, oh, I'm the wizard. I'll stand back. Male or female. I'm the warrior. I'll go forward. Male or female. I know. I want women to be like, oh my gosh, I cannot deal with this way. I have to find a woman way to do this. I mean, in my life, with my wife and my daughters and people, men and women act differently. And it's a wonderful thing. And we're ignoring that. And pagans want to ignore it. They want to, you know, they want to get rid of men and women, male and female. They want to replace that with this gray schmosh. And I'm going to fight it. I'm going to warn you, whether you would like it or not, or whether you think I'm an idiot or not. I don't care. I'm going to warn you about this. It's wrong. Men and women are different, and we should treat them differently. And I love the difference of men and women. I love that my wife does what I don't do, and I do what she does do. Anyway, okay. Your game will fail. Your views are truly in the dark ages. Gender roles are ridiculous. This is so backward thinking, it's comical. Read more. Are you forgetting? Okay, let me just go a little bit of time. Your game will fail. Fine. I'm enjoying what I'm doing. It's an easy game. It's simple. It's like 20. There's like less than 10 pages of rules. So it's just wonderful. As I've been GMing for 45 years. I am so stuck on this. I am enjoying how simple and yet expansive this game system is. You can create a character and play that character for 10 years and not worry about levels or any of that crap. And as you progress up, the progression of it is such that it scales so that, you know, diminishing return, but you can keep doing it. You can keep going on and on and on forever in improving a skill, you know, diminishing return in it, so that you will then want to expand out into different skills, but you will never be like overpowered. You will never overpower others. And that's reality. I can get as good as I want in medieval armored combat and get so better and better and better and more skilled at the style of fighting. But some new guy's going to come in and still can beat me. That's just hilarious and wonderful. And I love it when new guys do. And yeah, I get beat by new guys. And I fought the best. I fought the best combat dudes in America and Europe, and I've trained with them, and I've won. I beat them, but I don't want to go fly around and spend money on all these tickets and go compete and stuff. And I love these guys, and they're great guys, and they love me, and one of them misses me because I've been out for a while now, but I love that, and so I don't care if my game fails or not. I love the way the mechanics work in it. Your views are truly in the dark ages. I am loving the dark ages, man. I'm reading the missionaries there, and they're wonderful, and the way they talk and stuff. It's kind of boring. It doesn't have, you know, there's a few moments there of dragons and evil spirits and all that stuff, but all their talk is like peaceful stuff. Just like, I thought this was the dark ages. I thought they were like suffering and dying and, you know, and wars and famine and plagues, and they do mention that stuff, but I'm like, these guys this is luxurious the way they're writing. They're having a wonderful, I don't know. Okay. Gender roles are ridiculous. No, they're wonderful. Gender roles are wonderful. And it's a starting point. I am not against Christians. We Christians are not against a woman doing things outside of the gender role, but it's a starting point so you know what your strengths and weaknesses are. And that's so important. You guys pagans are trying to erase the gender roles and trying to erase genders. And then women at age 40 realize, I'm so at disadvantage here. I'm being surrounded by people I don't even want to be around. You know, I don't have a husband. I don't have children, or you know, and I was brainwashed. People think that feminism is a choice. It's not a choice. It's brainwashing to forget the gender roles. And what I want is for a woman to know that she should be a wife, a mother, and children. It's very important. But if she doesn't understand the consequences of that, you know, understand her body will change as a gender, as a female. You know, she has this window to have children. She has this window to get married and start that up. So that all has to be informed. The gender roles have to be obvious to every man and woman. You young ladies out there, you have to be aware of that. You have to be aware of your body and what it's going to be going through with the womb, with everything that entails. You've got to be informed. You cannot be told, oh, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Be sexually exploited and be free with your sexually exploited body. That's what men are going to tell you. Pagan men are going to tell you that. I mean, they're going to tell you it that way, but I'm telling you how they're really saying it. Are you forgetting the fact that this is a role-playing game? We're role-playing roles, and the roles are, hey, gender roles. You just said it right there. Are you thinking you can really cast spells and communicate with avatars of gods? Well, we do. I'm a Christian. I absolutely believe that we can, well, prayer, blessings, and pagans cast spells, and communicate with avatars of gods. I communicate with Jesus Christ, God, and the Holy Spirit. Actually, you're interrupting my communicating with him right now by doing this video. I'm being interrupted. So we Christians absolutely believe in this. Do you? Because demons want you to believe in them as gods. In the Christian pantheon, whatever, I don't know. Demons want you to believe they are gods. Demons want to whisper into your ears and your psyche and your soul, and even happy, and make you feel happy, make you feel fulfilled in yourself. Satan wants you to be yourself. He wants you to be your own God. So I absolutely believe in this. Way more than you, I think. It's fantasy. Anything is possible. No, we roll dice. We cast lots. We roll dice. It's not anything is possible. There's every game designer tweaks the games to fit, impossibilities and fantasy. What is fantasy? It is not what is fake. It's fantasy is our storytelling. It's our storytelling, and we're turning it all pagan. And this is like my biggest thing to Christians and Christian men who role play, and women, but I'm gonna say men because I'm James Brown. It's a man's world. And I love women and I want them to play too, but I don't see the numbers or the fastidious of men that do this, but dang, I lost my train of thought. Fantasy, but fantasy is not, it's real. It's real. It affects us. It's storytelling, and Christians need to bring their faith into it. And that's my whole ministry and point of my games, figuring this out after leaving Dungeons and Dragons 5e because of how woke it became. I'm really, I was like, oh man, they're woke. They're so woke. Every June with the Pride thing. And then at Christmas, they, little holiday, 20% off, that's all they do. But for June, they're freaking out. I just looked at Watsia today on the X to see if they had any Christmas stuff. They had a Pride thing. They had another Pride thing in December, for Christmas time. Okay. Additionally, bring modern religion into RPGs will only refire the satanic panic. Good luck with that. The satanic panic was instigated not by Christians. It was instigated by Hollywood, that Tom Hanks film. I think what it was is that the Hollywood in the movies and the TV didn't want role playing games to happen because it was a competition. It was a competitor. And the book by the guy who sort of investigated it, and I actually have it, but I haven't read it. I read blurbs on it. The kid or the college student who committed the suicide, and they said it was D&D that did it to him, and then they created this movie on it. He was part of a whole sex cult of gay men at the university. He was he did drugs. He would go crazy. It wasn't D&D that did it to him. Yet somehow, I think the Hollywood turned it into this D&D thing. So to me, the satanic panic that we are all talking about today, about and Gore Till Gore, whatever, it was a Democrat woman in the politics that was a big part of the selling the satanic panic. And then the Christian televangelists certainly jumped on it, and many Christians certainly did. I think they're fooled by this. I, as a hardcore Christian and been playing D&D, but at the same time, there's a bunch of gray area, and I'm seeing it even more now. So, satanic panic or not, whatever. We all, in the 80s and 90s, we all had everything was a panic. Everything was a panic because we had information came to us slowly. So everything was a panic. Whatever thing that happened was some sort of panic. Your views are not worthy of YouTube broadcast by way of Proverbs 17:28. Oh, that's interesting. I'm gonna look that up. I don't even know which one that is. Even a fool, when he holdeth his peace, is counted wise. When he shutteth his lips, he is esteemed as prudent. Yeah, I agree with that, man. Maybe I should stop talking. But everyone else is talking, so I'm gonna go ahead and talk. Yeah, whatever. Maybe I'll stop talking. And then of course, Wolf Thunder Spirit 2709. You should probably just delete this comment then, because then you'll be wise as well if you just don't have this comment here. Okay. All right. Pathetic. Okay, fine. I only heart that one. Bro doesn't know what a trans man is. Trans man. I don't know. Is that trans woman? Yeah, you're right. I guess I don't. This guy blows. Holy moly. By the way, holy shit and holy fuck and holy whatever. Those are all blaspheming the Holy Spirit. So please don't do it. And we need to, as Christians, we need to like bring that up too. Whenever people say holy shit or holy, they're not going to say anything about Allah or Muhammad, but they're going to certainly say Jesus fucking Christ, or goddamn, or holy shit. They're going to say that kind of stuff. And I'm saying it not in a blasphemy way. I'm saying it in an informative way. They're going to say that, but they're not going to say anything about Muhammad or Allah, right? No. Don't do that. And I'll actually tell you, the Smoke 722, please don't do that. Don't blaspheme them, even though we have the same rule. We just have a different punishment system. For us, God is vengeance, not me. I'm not vengeance of God. God is vengeance. I don't have anything. I'm free. I don't have to punish you. It also took him way too long to get to the point. I agree. Where I was wishing he wasn't about to say he made women worse in a game because he thinks that he has a godly rule over them. Well, when you're creating a rule set, you're sort of the god. You're sort of, you're the designer of the thing. Him assuming his wife is afraid of him is fucking crazy. Hope no one buys this shitty game. Assuming my wife is crazy. Oh, because I made that comment. Well, I'm bigger than her. I'm blah, blah, blah than her. And, no, and I know she wasn't afraid of me, but at the same time, I was just kind of being silly with her about it. And then she said she loves me, or she loves that I'm big and burly and do this, and it protects her. And yes, I am the protector of my wife and my kids. I am the protector of this home. And they know that, and they're comfortable. And that's what a man is supposed to be. And that should always be understood. If a man, and this is the thing, men are weak. If a man doesn't feel like he's a protector of his wife and kids, I think he's just going to break down, whatever. And I love this. I love that what I say could be offensive, or you could easily tear into it. And yet it is the truth. I know it's the truth based on families, just families. I can tell the men is the protector. The men will stand forward when there's an argument. The man must come forward. When I've seen men and women together and families. If women can't fight, how do you explain Xena defeating like 20 dudes on an average per episode? Sometimes simultaneously. Dude, you're right. I give up. You're right. I've changed my mind. Dude, you're so right. I never watched Xena, but there was plenty of women back in the 80s and 90s, some that I love their warriorship. Conan the Barbarian, the Valkyrie type woman. She was awesome. I still to this day love that role. Sigourney Weaver, but Sigourney Weaver in Aliens was a woman, but she kicked butt, but she was still a woman. Terminator 2, when Sarah Connor became tough and I remember that, man. Everyone was like, whoa, when we watched that, and, on the big screen. When she debuted, she was like kind of the first like muscle woman debut that we all can remember. Oh, well, aside from the Conan the Barbarian one. I think that was in the 90s. Terminator 2, but it was awesome. But she was still a woman in that. She was still like a mother. She role played as a mother. And here's the thing, in my game, you can be a warrior as a woman, but there's limits, and you're gonna hit a wall at some point if you want to get like better and better. That's what happens with women. They get good to a certain point. They can certainly beat men at a certain point, but then they know they can't get that much better. They suffer more than men do. And I'm going to get to that in this Special Forces letter. They have more, it's incredibly more difficult. Thusly, we're pretending it isn't. And thusly, women just play Special Forces characters. Yay, I can fight and kill. And I want to see a real woman in these games. I just want to see a real woman. I want to see because I see real women all the time and how they interact and how they deal with things and throughout history. And I don't see that in role-playing games. Yet all these sort of heroic guys and knights and fights, in the role-playing games, I see that in history too. I see men do crazy, incredible stuff, confronting bad, fighting and combat and crazy stuff. And I see that in role-playing games. But the women in history that I see that are amazing and tricky or whatever, I don't see it in role-playing games. Well, you don't play enough the right role-playing games then. All right, whatever. I thought this was satire at first. What hot garbage? Definitely hot garbage. I'm going to give them a heart. Women can't fight, dude. The average man can't fight. Most people can't fight. Coming from a combat sports background, I personally know several women who would mop the floor with a guy your size, and that is not hyperbole. Well, sure. If they're training, if they're focused, and there's specific rules on what you got to do and can't do. Sure, I agree with women can do that if they're training, if they're doing their, and the dude my size is not training and he's fat and lazy and whatever. Imagine for a second that you're playing a role-playing game, a game where you can play any character you want. Yeah. Oftentimes even fantasy races like orcs, tieflings, elves. Okay. Within the accepted rule set. Sure. What's the accepted rule set? Men and women are the same. Well, okay. Even in a historical setting, not fantasy, women can fight effectively. Well, that's why I disagree. I don't see that in history. I'm reading history. I don't see women fighting effectively. I did see a comment about Joan of Arc. She did not do combat. She led the soldiers. She inspired them. She was in the middle of it, but she did not actually fight. I agree. I disagree that women can fight effectively. I agree that women can fight, but effectively, I disagree with that. Yes, genetics and physiology plays a factor in aggression, strength, speed, and skill. But there are historical examples of badass women warriors in many cultures. I don't know of any. I mean, not really. A blade wielded by a skilled woman will cut you just as well as one wielded by a man. I agree with that. But that's not the only thing going on in a combat situation. However, in my game, yes, if she can get the man to lower his mace, his heavy battle axe, and his armor is not going to be a hindrance, she can certainly be deadly. But that's the thing. She has to get him to do that, lower his defenses. Even if the player wants to roleplay a woman who is physically weaker than the average man, they can do that by selecting their attributes for the purposes of such roleplaying. The thing is, we just get seduced by the male roles, and the women do too, and they want to play the strongest characters. And now, if they're going to play the strongest characters, then maybe they should play the men. In the original D&D back in the day, it was called men, not like the units or the troops were called men at the time. And Gary Gygax actually did have a rule about women couldn't be as strong as men. And he even had I read some email where he was frustrated that he couldn't get women to play the game. They just weren't interested. They were good at it, but they just didn't stick around that long when he play tested and invited them and stuff. This video is probably the dumbest thing I've seen this year. I doubt it, because you've saying some interesting stuff. So I doubt this is the dumbest thing ever, because you're actually okay. I'm certainly slapdash and lazy when it comes to editing. You're coming after D&D for erasing women, but your RPG is doing something much worse. Pigeonholing players to your skewed vision of the world. Let the players roleplay the characters that they are excited about. Don't screw them over with your heavy-handed rules. What's next? A male PC who's at a disadvantage if they attempt to cook or clean? Yeah. I'm totally going to do that. Every game does that. Every game designer has to figure out, whatever, balancing or whatever. And pigeonholing players to your skewed vision of the world. I don't know. I'm reading history. So history's got a skewed vision, I guess. I don't know. And I'm going to get to some websites here in a minute that I guess you're not going to like because they're pigeonholing women. Nah, brah. As I have the largest bunch in my group, only my characters can have high strength. Oh. What? As I have the largest bench in my group, my character have high strength. Oh, and I'm the only one with a master's degree, so high intelligence. Well, God, this video is such a wild take, so dumb. I can't really follow that. For real, Purple Belt and BJJ. What's BJJ? Okay. And doing MMA for 8 years, the average person does not even understand the very basics of self-defense or combat. In a fantasy game, anyone can fantasize fighting. In a fantasy game, anyone can fantasize fighting. Again, that would be wonderful if they weren't pushing such agendas on us. 5 years ago, I would have not cared really about this whole thing. And I even had my daughter play, and she played, heavily warrior, blah, blah, blah. And, cause I was learning 5e and she played like solo with me. It was fun, and she loved it and I loved it. But then, now she's like 18, 19 and not interested in playing. And I'm, whatever. And she doesn't want to play for the Lord RPG. Well, she does and doesn't, but she's really, she's really busy in life. Like she's really busy. So, but I don't know. I don't know what I'm going on here, but whatever. Bro, I don't like feminism either, but D&D is an imagination game. I wish they have an agenda. I'm going to do another video, but there's a video where they're changing words they're actually like going in with I don't know, BLM or LGBTQ diversity and changing they're taking out the word savage, like savage orcs. They're taking that out because savage denotes a primitive culture. They don't like that. They're literally changing words within the game to affect your mind, and they're telling you how to talk. They're telling you what adjectives to use and which ones have bad connotations. They're literally erasing words from our lexicon, and it's not imagination anymore. It's an agenda. I'm trying to get that across to you guys as well. It's an agenda. And so I'm going to agenda back. I'm going to agenda back with reality, the reality of men and women. And I want the reality of men and women and stories and history to be into this game, into fantasy. Fantasy comes from reality. Fantasy comes from the struggle of Christians versus pagans. Elves, giants, dwarves comes from history. It comes from our history, and yet we're erasing the Christian part of it. And that annoys the heckadoodles out of me. And so I'm going to fight back and, and have fun doing it. Nice to see that you dug your heels really deep into the sexist part of your death cult religion. I'm going to give him a heart for that one. My wife submits to me is all we needed to know about you being worthless about talking about women, let alone the garbage mechanics you spewed. I do spew. My mechanics are awesome, but I spew garbagely. I'm terrible at this. Anyway, it's a fantasy game with elves, ABD, and dwarves. Women can be as strong as people playing them want to be. Like, I can see like Valkyrie and Amazonian women, and I'd be like, I wouldn't really blink about it. But again, the Valkyrie and Amazonian women act like men. They act like men. They're warriors, right? And that's what they're talking about here too. As strong as the people playing them, strong as the men, and it's fun. They're all doing the same thing. All of you guys are doing the same thing. Women all can be equal by acting like men. That's all you're doing. And can embrace any aspect they wish to be feminine or masculine, or even express their femininity in ways which have no association with the real world at all. But you have to have an association with the real world. You have to have a starting point, and we want to erase the feminine starting point, the woman starting point. What's the woman's starting point? Yes, raising children. Your bodies are made. The physiology, you have an incredible amount of organs there that I don't have, vice versa. But you have these organs there that can hold a life for 9 months and grow it. That is huge. And you can feed it afterwards for a year. I've heard 7, 14 years, 10 years breastfeeding. But I mean, the first year or two easily. I think the first 3 months you won't even like, if they can't get breast milk, they'll freaking die. I mean, or some kind of milk, and especially your breast milk. Okay, just like elves express themselves in ways that no one in the real world expresses because it's fantasy. It's whatever we wish it to be. And sadly, you chose to be closed-minded and harmful. I think it's whatever we wish it to be. Okay, so I wish it to be based on reality, starting point. And sadly, you chose to be closed-minded and harmful. Well, if it's whatever we wish it to be, how come I'm closed-minded and harmful? Isn't my way my wish? Apparently, my wish is not whatever we wish it to be, right? That's the I wish I had an iron right here and the irony of it all. You guys, it is hilarious. You guys talk about diversity and openness and tolerance, but not Christianity. It's not Christianity, or not truth. We're open and tolerant to paganisms of all kinds, but boy, when it comes to truth and truth and Christianity, nope. Joan of Arc would like a word. Geez, man explaining women. Well, Joan of Arc was surrounded by men, knights, Christian, Catholic knights, but Christian knights. She never killed anyone or fought. She led them. She led men, not women. The armies she led were not made of women at all. Okay. What the fuck is this bullshit? Give him that a heart. 1E was the best when men were men and women were women. Can't stand all the woke crap of 5E. Oh, I got to heart that one for sure. You know, I'll say this about Dungeons and Dragons and dungeon crawling your fantasy. Yeah, it's there. You know, there's no room for a woman in it really, and because if you're going through a dungeon, and I'm going to explain it here. I'm going to keep going, by the way, and you know, there's kind of, you know, spelunking. A woman just cannot spelunk. I mean, a woman can climb and do all that today because we've got ropes and safeties and pitons and all these kind of cool stuff that do provide them. But the upper body strength of a woman is not going to last in sort of these incredibly dangerous places. I mean, anywhere in the world, the miners are men. Anywhere in the world, the caving people that do it for a job are men. Anywhere in the world where you're a welder in the deep oil drills and deep in the sea with the big metal suits and welding in the dark, cold abyss, men. I'm going to get to that here in a minute as well. I hope these comments are a wake-up call for reflection and personal growth. No. Apparently, well, I've been reflecting on personal growth dramatically in the last couple of years, especially with the woke and the pagan push. The pagan push for these men can be women and women can be men crap. That is my personal growth and reflection. Wake up call. Apparently Ron doesn't read history. This is one of the stupidest things I've ever read. No, I do read history. I'm reading history right now. I'm constantly reading history. Lol. I'm reading Proverbs 32, the woman in it. I'm going to go that. I'm going to do that as well. Lol. Okay. Wow. A fully signed up member of the largest ever pedophile ring daring to talk about, well, anything go back to helping your priest rape kids and leave Disney people alone. I want to do a video on that, but the pedophiles were homosexual men infiltrating the Catholic Church. That's what it was. Because 90% of the children who were raped were boys, teenage boys, by men. And there was no rule or advocacy in the Catholic Church for raping young men or boys. There's no rule in it. Now, in the gay world, there is a rule. Read the Gay Manifesto of 1987, published in gay magazines in San Francisco on Haight Street in 1987. It's submitted to Congress. It is the Gay Manifesto that says they will seduce through blowjobs, fellatio, boys at churches, in bus stops, in bathrooms, in gyms. They will rape boys, and Harvey Milk did it as well. It is part of your rule set for the LGBTQ to rape kids. It's a rule. It's thank goodness. Thank God that God made them reveal the truth in written word, because they did try to deny it later on and say it was just a joke. But it was published in gay magazines and newsletters on Haight Street in San Francisco. And, you know, we're going to get your children. That's the song they did on YouTube that they had the gay San Francisco Gay Men's Chorus. They're going to get our children. How do they get our children? The church doesn't do that, but men do that. And they went into the church pretending to be priests. And now evil will do evil and never take responsibility for evil. Evil will blame good. And so that's what we have here. So I'm here to say I'm going to openly rebuke you in this claim here about the Catholic Church and priests. And I'm going to openly rebuke you and the gay community and the Gay Manifesto of 1987. Check it out. That says they will give blowjobs to boys to shame them into being gay men. Tells women that 5e is making, and you're part of that. Tells women that 5e is making them play like a man. Proceeds to limit the abilities and classes of women in his game. Making them play like a man. Proceeds to limit the abilities and classes. Yes, that's what I'm doing. That's a good point. I agree, and I don't understand why he wants to limit women in the RBG. I don't want to limit women. I want women to be women. They're limited if they're just going to play a man or play like a man. That's the limiting part of it. I want women to play women in this game. The way I've dealt with women in real life, I want to see that in the game. I want girls to play like a woman. I don't want girls to play like a man. That's limiting. That is ridiculous and limiting. Imagine that. Like I said in football, You get a woman to practice hard, a young girl, hour after every day, 2 or 3 hours, week after week, season after season, to be a football player, and then bam, she hits a fat dude who's 15, breaks her freaking mouth or jaw. That's the limiting part. You're the one doing that. I am not going to tell a woman she can do what a man does. I'm going to tell a woman she's a woman, and check out what you can do as a woman and what your strengths are. This is the dumbest thing I've seen today. I give him a heart. Lo, why did you heart this? I'm making fun of you in case you didn't know. Oh, I know. Just look to Jesus Christ and how he ended up. I know. I'm DMing full female drow team for 5+ years. It's very different motivations and ways of playing for normal D&D. A lot of mind games and cunning plans, less direct fight, turn NPC into simps. It's more important rather than killing them. Dude, I'm gonna say awesome. Awesome. That was awesome. That's to me the point here, man. They do play different. They have different motivations and way of playing. And then of course they're playing drow, so that's like, and I get the drow women are stronger than the men in it. It's a matriarchy system, and that's fine too. I don't even mind that. That's actually kind of cool. So they're playing something really fantastical, which is fine, but it's gone too far. It's gone way too far. Oh, that's my wife. I gotta go. I am the master of my wife. Just don't let her hear that. She submits to me, but I gotta go tend to her. I'll be right back. Okay. Let me go on. The drow thing was cool. I don't know if I want to read this one. It's just so long. Brevity. Unlike me, Mocha Master coffee. Okay. You claim that feminists want to take the role of a man and erase womanhood. Feminists want to take on the role of a man and erase woman. A better way to describe this would be that they are rejecting the prescriptions of what woman is as defined by a man. No, a man does not define a woman. God does, but a woman defines a woman. Just by what she does. What she does and what she's good at. That's a woman's defining a woman. If a man could get women to fight in battles across medieval history, they would have. If they were effective and kick butt, the army would be twice as big. So no, a man does not define a woman. A woman defines a woman based on her physiology, her biology, her psyche. Okay, defined by a man. And promoting the ability to choose their own lives as what women choose for themselves without coercion is by definition feminine. No, I don't think so. Feminism is Marxism, and it's telling women to not be a wife, not be a mother, not to have families. Feminism is an agenda. So I'm telling you, it's not vanilla. It's not innocent. It's agenda driven, and that's what we see. The application of feminism today is horrible. A Christian woman, throughout history, has had the freedom to do things. She has had the freedom to do things. There's nothing in the Bible about in a Christian, there's no rule in there in the New Testament. I've not read anything where the mother and the father choose the husband for the wife or the the marriage partner. There's no rule in there like that. That comes from paganism. Pagans force their daughters into marriage. Polygamy, whatever. In Islam, they're being they're forced. In Hinduism, they choose that's their thing. That's their tradition. It's not in the New Testament, and I don't recall reading in the Old Testament either. There's nothing like that. I just don't recall. I remember the one story of Jacob trying to get a wife from a man, and his daughters, and so but he tricked him. He wanted one daughter and she wanted to marry him, but then he tricked her by giving him the other daughter. But it was the young man trying to, meeting these women, meeting the daughter, trying, and then talking to the father about permissions or whatever. But it wasn't like the man went out and found him and chose him to be his daughter's husband or whatever. You claim that Christians serve while pagans worship tyranny. Do you live on a different planet with different history? Yeah, apparently. I live on the planet of Christian history with Christendom, and where Jesus Christ is in in the U.S. Constitution is, and Western ideas. Did the Roman Empire that propagated and forced Christianity and tyranny onto mostly democratically organized pagans not exist in yours? The Roman Empire that propagated and forced Christianity and tyranny onto mostly democratically organized pagans not exist in yours. Yes, they did not exist in mine. Pagans are not democratic. Now there's the claim of the Greek being democratic. Well, it was only Athens. It wasn't all of Greece. Sparta was not democratic. And guess what? Guess who was there prevalently the most in Greece? Jews. The Bible, the Old Testament, where the Republic is described quite well. And I just did that in a Christian nationalist video. Moses' father-in-law comes and teaches him about a republic where they select and have individual leaders in a representative government. And the Greeks then saw that, and there was no king. And they followed laws, like laws on the books. So that was a constitutional republic. That was the beginning concept of a constitutional republic. Was written down in 800, 900 BC, and the Greek democracy was around 400 or 500 BC. And the Old Testament was translated into Greek because there were so many Jews that knew Greek. They think there were more Jews that knew Greek than Hebrew at that time. And so they made the Septuagint or whatever, the Septuagint, the Greek Old Testament. And that the Greeks being, they debate and argue and learned about that. Okay. There's no democratic pagans. I don't know of any. Only Christian democracies, well, republics. Cleaning as a bonus based on sex. Maybe there's a lack of experience around women who are comfortable with you. This isn't some sort of innate trait with women. Well, it is. It's a socially trained feature of our culture that promotes homemaking for women and breadwinning for men. The reason women do most of the housework in modern culture, even if both partners are working full time, has nothing to do with innate ability. I disagree. Men can clean, sure, and I'm getting better at it. But women are just innately better. Innate. And it's hilarious. And every couple I know is like that. I don't know that many though. They're all Christian. What an ability list. Cleaning, something that anyone could do. And it's supported in 5e. But it fits your fantasy better than the women do it while the men don't. Men can do it. They just don't have the extra little bonus. Distracting something that should be more powerful if done by a frontline warrior and is supported in 5e, and feigning, begging for sympathy for sneak attacks, all supported by 5e. Well, they're supported, but in the sense of, male or female. But in mine, the women get a slight advantage over it because they have to. They don't have the upper body strength. They don't have the speed. They don't have the tenacity that men do. And that's statistically proven. Women don't want to change the world. Weren't you talking about how feminists are trying to change the world? Well, not our. Women trying to change the world. Women are behind most activist movements, or are we just playing pretend with the real world again, where women who aren't behaving the way you think they should be acting are acting like men? So yeah, I was getting a little poetic there about it all, in that I don't think most women want to. I'm talking statistically. They don't want to change the world. They've got so much to do otherwise. Men are sitting around doing nothing. We're twiddling our thumbs, and it's sort of that sort of psyche I have. I can just tell. It's just, bro science, whatever. Anyway, this video isn't about 5e. It's about your own system and how you've reinforced your own worldview with game mechanics by placing women into a small box. I'm not playing. You're placing them into a small box of men. 5e now disgusts me. I hate 5e. I don't hate it, but whatever. But I don't like what the way it's being owned and treated, and the way they're treating the way they are, blah blah blah, woke and all that. Okay, let's pretend. I'm getting a little tired now. Let's pretend it was about 5e though. How would you embrace women to 5e if you're being traditional about it? Well, I don't want to pretend it's 5e because I don't like 5e. Pick an appropriate background. See, I don't want to pick a background. You're in my game, you're 17, 18. I mean, 5 in Dungeons & Dragons, you should be like 18 years old, starting off on your heroic adventure. 17. There is no background. So it's kind of ridiculous to me, all this stuff they have. I don't know. Now I'm going to get into the 5e stuff, which I'm going to skip all this. Also, what about dwarves and orcs? Well, whatever. I am definitely getting tired. I also know one on Earth that can tank a dragon breath and be equal in durability to a dragon. But in 5e, level 5 is the point where you surpass any human ever alive on Earth. Yeah. Nothing like a man mansplaining how to be a woman. Yeah. I mean, you don't believe in genders, right? So what does it matter? You know, that's a hilarious thing. You guys don't have, as pagans, you believe men can be women and women can be men. So I'm going to be a woman right now on these videos and explain women. How about that? But no, as a Christian, I can mansplain to a woman. Absolutely. And women can mansplain to a man, you know, although I'd probably put her in her place somehow. I don't know. That's kind of mean, but thank you. I'm a dude, and I think that my next character will be female, and I'll roleplay her as an actual feminine human. I will have to completely rethink all my strategies. I'm gonna heart that. I probably being silly, but true. But hey, that makes exactly. A woman should be able to think about it in different ways than a man. It's awesome. You should go tell Ronda Rousey that women can't fight and see how you do. This whole video is repulsive. Well, I looked up some Ronda Rousey videos, just curious about this because I don't really know that much about her. But she's like, she does not want to fight men professionally at all. She doesn't think it's right. I saw the video. She doesn't want that to be part of whatever. She trains with men. I wonder why. Well, because you get better training when you train with men than you do with women. That's absolutely why she does it. And here's the thing about Ronda Rousey and me, and I would never fight a woman. And this actually came up in this Special Forces letter I was reading. The guy, and this is what I would do if I was fighting Ronda Rousey. I'd go for her throat. I'd go for her head and her throat. That's all I would focus on. With my upper body strength, I would, I would never do that to her or anyone. And I'm not threatening I would ever do that. I would never do that. But that's the sad reality of it. And the guy, Special Forces guy says, can you go for the throat and kill? That's what you're after, the throat. And, a man can protect his throat much better. We have this upper body strength. We can easily overpower a woman. And if a woman is training, good luck. But if I go for the throat and your face, I don't care how well trained you are, I have the advantage, period. And I don't like to say that or think about that. But that's why I don't want women to think that they can just be fighters and storytell and role play like a fighter. It's just not swallowable. It's not digestible. It's absurd. And that's the way I look at it. Okay. Man is wrong about woman. What a shock. Woman is wrong about man. Okay. Woman is wrong about fighting. What a shock. Women can fight. Well, sure. Testosterone increases bone strength. Yeah. And women have 1/10 the testosterone of men. 1/10. Plus they're half the weight. And they don't even have the cardiovascular system that men have. We breathe better than women. The essential part of fighting in combat, in medieval armored combat with armor on, because these role-playing games all have armor, is breathing, is air, is oxygen. Women cannot get oxygen the way men can. We have bigger lungs. If I was the same size as my wife, my lungs would still be bigger than hers. Muscle mass, yes, but a woman can get strong without it. Yeah, how strong? Enough to carry food around. There are female wrestlers, weightlifters, marathon runners, and many other types of athletes. Yeah, where's the working women in those jobs? Construction, lumber, wood logging. There are no wood logging women with chainsaws and all that stuff out in the forest logging. There are no women loggers. I mean, might be one. Carpentry. Women can do carpentry, but can they lumber around the lumber? No, they cannot. Female wrestlers. Yeah, they wrestle other females. Weightlifters, sure, whatever. That's safe. Marathon runners. And many other types of athletes. Yeah, it's interesting you say athletes. What about work? Day after day, hardcore work. And I have a video or page on that. They don't do that. Women don't go out and do logging or construction. I mean, a couple do, but You got to lumber around 50 pounds to 100-pound objects, and not comfortably. And you have to use these. You have to use the actual finger joints. Women don't have that. Yes, the male athletes on average have better results. What are we arguing about here? That's why we have women's and divisions of sports, and an average man starting there. What? So are you arguing with me? But D&D adventurers aren't average people. I don't care. It's still the same. It's still the same. If you're a superhero woman or superhero man, the superhero woman or men, by the way, men are going to be fighting and laying waste as the superhero women are not really. You know, if you really want to do a real role-playing game where you're really delving into the whole thing of storytelling too, is knowing your limits as a human being, like what they are, your strengths and limits. Ignoring them is so boring. Ignoring female aspects is ridiculous because you're then so removed from storytelling because you're not using the setting. The setting is man and woman. That is the setting of all our stories. Men and women. That is the setting of a story, period. And you guys are erasing that. You're erasing that. You're pretending it's all men. You're pretending that the women are men. And it's boring. It's stupid. It's pagan. Ian, just look at this guy. He's just like with this. You just set up the premise and I don't want nothing like a man telling people what it means to be a woman in a role-playing game. Well, men are saying it. Women are saying it. You know, the women that are doing role-playing games, design role-playing, they're saying that they're just like men. So I'm going to tell you, no, you're not. Hey, look, an RPG grifter selling snake oil solutions to imaginary problems. I know it's a huge problem. It's a huge problem in the women's sports. Male transies are going into there. It's a huge problem for women. It's a huge problem for women. It's a huge problem when you lie to a girl and tell her she can play football or go up against men or allow a 240-pound guy play rugby against a woman. That's a lie. That is a lie, and it is grifting, and it is snake oil. Poisonous snake oil at that. Girls are getting hurt brutally by your lies. You're lying to them, and you're hurting them. Interesting videos. Usually I partially disagree. Okay, this one I responded to. Women. Okay, and that's it. I'm done. So these guys, thank you guys for the 3 or 4 comments here that truth, more truth. Women ran a household, did buy lots of grand, as well as communication more than men. It might be a good idea to provide them with bonuses to them relate to the game. And I said, yeah, sure. Okay. So yeah, let me go through then I'm just going to go crazy here. I don't even know how long this video is so far. I am getting tired. Oh man, it's been an hour. Dang. Pretend this is a live video. Okay. Look at this. 92% of workers who died were men in this, 2008. In the past 30 years, this has been steady. 92% of the workers who died are men. What? We need more women dying in the work environment. We need more women dying. It's not fair. It's not fair. How dare women not, how dare you, no genders and allow this to happen? 90% of loggers, the occupations with the highest rate of deaths are loggers, fishing workers, aircraft pilots, flight engineers and roofers. That's weird. Pilots are dying on. That makes me nervous. 97% of loggers, 92% of fishing workers. There's no women doing these. Why these steel? Why can't women with these lift up these steel cages and in these rocking boats and these storms and freezing ocean waters with all they have are gloves on, but they got to use these finger joints and lift up these steel cages and these metal hooks on these ropes that swing by. And if they catch you, they'll break your limbs. Why aren't women doing that? With your equality and there's no difference between men and women. 98% of roofers were men who, what the heck? Why isn't it 50-50? The workplace fatalities in the profession are caused by falls, exposure to harmful environments, and injuries by work equipment. So yeah, women, twice as many men as women die in motor vehicle. Okay, let's whatever. 70% of vehicle homicide deaths and 79% homicide deaths and 79% of suicide deaths are men. How come we don't have more? How come it's not 50% or the same or whatever? Okay. This is a pretty amazing, an open letter to the future women of special operations. So I'm not going to read the whole thing, but some of the interesting things on here is about, can you do 71 push-ups in 2 minutes? Which I don't know if I can do 50. I don't know about 2 minutes though. Whatever. But the interesting thing that he said in here is this page 1 or page 2? But page 1. Let me go. Anyway, I really love what he says here about you got to go for the throat and you got to kill. That's the whole aspect of special forces. Can you do that? And they're going to be, special forces is going to be mean. It's going to be vicious. And he's saying though that it's not happening. Women are not succeeding, even and there's slight changes even in the tests and stuff. But women are not going to be succeeding in special forces. I mean, he's being kind of fair-minded-ish, but read between the lines. But it's not happening. Women are not there. They all failed the test to become special forces. Here he's like, they're twice as likely to get injured. Or not even twice. I think it's worse than that. They get injured. They'll have minor injuries, physical injuries during training, twice the rate of men, elevated risk of post-traumatic stress. In fact, you're more than twice as likely to experience post-traumatic stress than your male counterpart. During 90% of the entire Ranger Regiment has experienced events which have made them highly susceptible to post-traumatic stress. The 90%. So that means for a woman, it's going to be 180%, many of whom admitted to displaying symptoms of the time. 6 to 12% of males are injured per month in basic training, where 30% per month during naval special forces training. It is important to note that this number is likely significantly lower due to the fact that reporting an injury in special warfare training is a different outcome, so you don't want to report it. So that means that twice that will happen with women. And of course, there's only a few women. The rate of female injury in basic training compared to male is double, and injury occurrence is 3 to 5 times higher, at least in special operations training. So there's no way women can do special forces. So why lie to them? And why have, anyway, I think I've made my point. Here's Roman Soldier. I just did whatever. I made my point. I made my point that women can't do this stuff, man. And let me see. Look at this. The difference of the anatomy. Here, women are shorter on average. Male bones are bigger and stronger. Women and men have the same number. Okay. Men have bigger heads and longer arms and legs. Women's elbows and shoulders are slightly different from men's. Our arms bend a little further from our body. Okay. And are more mobile at both joints. So they're more, gymnastics, whatever. Finger length. But since they're more mobile at their joints, they're more limber, that means they're weaker. Our joints are way stronger, and I can tell in medieval armored combat we're so much faster. When I practice with a girl or young lady, and I'm being nice, but I have to go so freaking slow with her, and she's like, and she's struggling, and I'm like, oh my gosh, okay, I'm gonna be nice, let her have some fun, but I feel so freaking slow. I feel like this. I'm going to block now. And she's like, I'm like, whoa. And I'm pushing her to go as hard as she can. Women have a longer torso. Okay. During pregnancy, the larger female pelvis for childbirth. For crying out, women's skulls are thicker by 10% than men, but men tend to have a bony ridge on the brow line and heavier jaw. The male forehead is likely to slope backwards. Women's are more vertical. That's interesting. Women's skulls are thicker skulls. Yeah, I get that. Okay. Testosterone with a square chin, sharp-looking mandibles, and more prominent atoms have more facial hair, male pattern baldness. We got just so much more. Here, respiratory system is way better than ours. And that is a huge, like I said, in combat. Hormones, right? Okay, yeah. Okay, so here's something that we're missing out on. What women did in medieval history. And all of these, I looked through all of these, the famous women of Middle Ages, and they This is the kind of women I want to see in role-playing games. That women that do women things, and none of these are knights, none of these are warriors. They all dealt with things. They all had things that they did, and I'm not against them having some fun with combat. I get it. That's why I do allow the crossbow, and I allow them to, if they want to use a sword, they can. They just got to know how much weaker they're going to be. And like I said, Joan of Arc didn't do combat, but she was in there. She encouraged the men. Morale. Here's something. This person did a top 10 knights in European history, right? And talked about all of them. It's kind of, whatever. And this is by the way, this is done in 2011, 2012. And this woman is kind of woke, because not woke, but she said, I'm going to do women now in history. Well, all the women are not knights. None of them are knights. None of them did combat. They all did other things in medieval history. Interesting things, but they didn't do full on combat. They did other things that affected culture, affected the way we think, affected, whatever, but they didn't do combat. So that's what I'm like, we're being brainwashed to think that you women can just fight in a game. And I don't want that. I don't mind that we have women fighting in the game, but I don't want that to be the only, I don't want them to act like men. And the reason I'm even going this far out like this and being crazo nutso about this is because of the woke culture, the Marxist culture that is erasing women and men, dishonoring the father and the mother, getting rid of family, and I'm fighting against it. I'm that, like John in the woods, like calling out and warning you all to stop following this stuff. And same, especially you Christian. This video is really for Christians and Christians who RPG to do this, to get For the Lord RPG or other Christian games, and to denote the male and female roles and to play those out and to make it fascinating and interesting. And to have the women play these roles that women played in history. I have the patron lady, which is like what I showed you, these Middle Eastern, and nuns. All these women that I showed you, that I just clipped to, I think they're all either patron ladies or nuns. And I thought of that, but I didn't even have this list of women in mind. But I'm looking at the list here, they're all nuns or patron ladies of the church, for the most part. And a patron lady is someone who's of royalty, and who helped the church build. And they had a huge role in fantasy, because fantasy was the struggle. What did the patron lady do? They confronted pagans and weirdos and freaks to build a church. And that's what fantasy is the struggle between Christians and pagans. That's where it comes from. And who built fantasy as far as a literal form? The Christian world, right? The book, because we invented the printing press. So we invented anyway, whatever. I'm just going off there. So that's my rambling slapdash response. D&D 5e erases women part 2, or commentary Q&A, whatever. I don't know if any of you lasted this long. Hopefully I'll just get a bunch more views and hates and dislikes and subscribers, because that's kind of what that did. I wonder how much money I made off of this thing. Let me see. I'll show you. I'll tell you right now, just to anger you, if you're. It doesn't say yet or something. I don't know where to look for that. Oh, revenue. Here we go. 38 cents. Yes. Estimated revenue 38 cents. That's pretty good. Pretty good. Yeah. All right. So that's it for me now. So if you're a Christian, does a role-playing game, I am telling you, I am asking you, I am rebuking or edifying, or iron sharpens iron. You gotta get, For the Lord RPG, whatever, and put your faith back into the RPGs. Put your faith in our belief system and what Jesus and Paul told us our belief system, and God, men and women, bring it back, because the pagans are erasing it. They're erasing Christianity and our faith from the culture. And we got to bring it back in, and we got to make it offensive to them. I want them to come to your table at a gaming convention and go, "The women can only do that." That's so stupid. I want that. I want you guys to feel that oppression and that mocking and scoffing from the pagans, as you do For the Lord RPG or Christian RPGs, where men are men and women are women in the game. And both the Christian men and women have changed history in medieval history, and affected change because they're men and women, not because they're all just men. All right, so that's it for me. I'm tired. I got to get some work done. I got to do Christmas in Space and finish the. I'm finishing up Fort Lord RPG, the polished version of the PDF, and the print. They're getting delivered to me. So I'm gonna. If this print run goes really well, I'm gonna be very excited and sell them like as a print run. I'm using this. You know, I got this Christian comic. Now I'm not doing the comic book, but I'm doing this publishing, Morris Publishing. And the prices were really good. No, not local, but I had to go what I had to go with. And it's going to be kind of this size. These are all test print runs of different, more expensive places, but I'm going to get hopefully something this size. It's coming in little booklets like that for now. First version, first edition, whatever. And that'll be coming out soon, I hope. But also the PDFs will be on the website any day now. I've got I got the Dark Ages one. And the Apostles of the APOC PDFs of the game, of the rules. I don't have the Creature Codex. I'm almost done. I got a page or two left. I'm going to put that up there so you can buy that as well as a PDF. But if you're a GM and you really want to GM this, contact me because I am looking for GMs and I'm willing to give out you some free stuff. I got to, market. That's my marketing, I guess, is if you want to GM and you've listened to this video all the way through to here, I'm impressed. So email me and I'll get you a free PDFs and all that stuff. Anyway, in the game of life, roll holy dice.